Christmas is right on the corner and a lot of delicious and caloric food will be around you 24/7. After Christmas we have New Year's Eve, and maybe depending where are you from around the world, you might have other celebrations. What usually happens is that after 2 weeks you get 2 weeks older and 2 kilos heavier. Those 2 extra kilos are a problem for most people. Me being aware of that and being aware that a lot of people do not control themselves and they usually gain quite a bit of weight during holidays, I'm making this video to help you to either not gain any extra weight or at least minimize the damage. So why not just jump on a video? First fact, did you know that most of the weight that we gain during the year is gained during the holiday season? And the holiday season for me, for example, is now during Christmas and New Year's Eve. But for you, it could be another time of the year. Again, depending where you are from, you have different holidays, different celebrations, but you gain most of the weight around the holidays. And this is shown in studies and reports all over the world, where it seems that, as I was just saying, we gain most of the weight during these times. This wouldn't be a problem if we would get rid of the weight that we would gain, but that's not what happens. On average, if we gain, let's say, 2 kilos, we get rid of 1 kilo. After 3, 4, 5 years, this starts to be a problem. And if you look around to your family or friends, you will see that these numbers are not actually that wrong. I mean, maybe after 5 years, someone has an extra 5 kilos or a little bit more, and they seem to never get rid of them. At least, if I look around my family, they usually tend to get older and heavier. I don't know if this will surprise you, but I'm pretty sure that you are not doing this, even though you probably know it. I'm always emphasizing this to my clients, and what I'm talking about is just before, not afterwards. Putting another way is you prepare before having an event and you adjust before it, not after that event. So let me give you an example of this time of the year, that is Christmas, that usually people tell to themselves. A scenario looks something like this. So it's Christmas Day, you finish to eat and it's time for desserts. Yes, desserts on a plural. You happen to see that they put right in front of you 3 of your favorite desserts that you haven't eaten quite in a while. And on top of that, they put 2 other new things that you didn't try, but it looks so yummy. What do? You tell to yourself, oh, you know what, it's Christmas, let me enjoy. I'm gonna have them all and I compensate later. That's not true. You won't compensate later. That's just a lie that you tell to yourself. We usually tend to say that we will exercise extra later or eat a little bit less in the following days and things like that. And even though if you do it, probably will never do it to the point where you compensate for the damage that you are doing at the moment that you are thinking that. Just a quick side note, and if you think, for example, this also happens when people don't have money and they are asking for money to other people and they promise to give a lot, but they promise when they don't have any. Or even in love, people promise to give a lot of love, but first they want to get it. So pay attention when you are using this mindset. Because while you are having these 3 amazing desserts, it's very easy for yourself to just say that you will do exercise in a few days later. 3 days later down the line, for some reason it's raining a lot outside, it's cold, your knees hurt, who knows the reasons. Maybe the stars are not aligned and you are not exercising. But you look so motivated and so serious when you said to everyone that you will compensate later. No one knows what's happening. So what am I sharing here with you is that in these days before Christmas and New Year's Eve, what we will do is to adjust our diet to then, during Christmas and New Year's Eve, eat a little bit more and not gain this extra weight that usually we never get rid of. Does that sound good to you? If you ask me how can we do this, it's very easy. The strategy is this one. Preparing before, not afterwards. Now I'm giving you the tactics. First tactic, reduce the amount of carbohydrates and fat that you eat. How do you do that? It's pretty simple. Between 3 and 5 days before Christmas time, what you have to do is just stop or reduce quite a lot of the amount of pasta, rice, bread that you eat and substitute it by vegetables. If you start to eat more salads, just please pay attention to not add a lot of oils or other fat sources, because then maybe at the end you end up eating more calories than if you would have your regular meals, and we don't want that. So just by doing this, you are cutting quite a bit of calories, and what this is doing is putting you on a caloric deficit that will make you to lose some weight prior to Christmas, not after. Another simple way that you can just cut calories is by doing what is called intermittent fasting. You can do intermittent fasting in a lot of different ways, but my suggestion again to keep it very simple is just either you skip breakfast or you skip dinner, and you can try and test what works best for you. For some people it's easier for them to just skip breakfast because they don't feel that hungry in the morning and they prefer to have a bigger meal later in the day, and for some other people it's quite the opposite. A reminder, this means that you are skipping one meal and reducing the caloric intake during the day. Now, if you skip one meal and then you compensate by eating more, then again, you are not putting yourself in a caloric deficit and most likely will not lose any weight before Christmas. So here you have it. The first thing is reduce calories by reducing carbohydrates and fat and maybe using the intermittent fasting system. Now, there is also other thing that you can do on top of that or in exchange by not reducing calories. And that's just simply by doing more exercise. So during these days you will have more energy, and being lazy, just being seated all day long won't make you any good, especially if you are having these extra calories. So why not taking advantage of that and do some extra exercise to burn some extra calories? But again, I would even recommend you to start right now, do some extra 20 or 30 minutes of extra exercise to burn some extra calories. So let's say that you do your home workout or you are going to the gym. At the end, you can do 20 minutes or 30 minutes of cardio, and that will make you to burn in this between 3 and 5 days around 800 or 1200 calories. Guys, that helps. So these are basically the two simple things that I'm just sharing with you that seem so banal that everyone knows, but almost no one does. Now, there is also a lot of many things that you can do during the day, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve or other holiday seasons that help you to not gain extra weight. I could share with you dozens and dozens of them, but it would be just more information for you, and as I was just saying, probably would not make anything with it. So using here a little bit of psychology and knowing that these two probably will help you the most, I'm gonna share them with you. We all like to think that environment, peer group behavior, size, colors, varieties won't influence us in eating more. But that's actually not true. I mean, and again, this is shown in many studies. People eat a lot more, and then when researchers ask them if the environment and all these things influence them, they always say, oh no, not me. So knowing this, I have two recommendations for you. The first one is pick certain foods that you want to eat for that day and only eat those. This means that if you have like 30 types of foods, you don't have to try them all. Maybe in that day you say to yourself, I'm going only to have these 10. Tomorrow you have another 10, and maybe the next day you can try other things. But don't try everything in the same day, because if you do that, you will end up eating more than if you would only restrict yourself for a certain types of foods. And the reason for that is because we have taste buds in our mouth and we have some cells in our brains that are activated when we try different types of foods with different types of fat, sugar, sodium, and all these things. If foods are hyperpalatable, I don't know how to pronounce this, I'm sorry, but if these foods are really rewarding in our body, we will just end up eating more. And again, having a lot of variety in the table will make us to eat more. So what I'm saying is that one of those days, what I suggest you to do is to eat your meal and then maybe pick only 3 desserts, and that's it. The next day you can try other ones, but please do not go for all of them, because you will end up eating more and that will lead you to some extra weight that you will regret a few days later. The second tip is very simple and builds on top of this one. So first you select the amount of foods you want, and the second you restrict yourself to the size. It has also been shown in many studies that the size of the proportions that we put on our plates dictates the amount that we eat. So this means that when you are picking a slice, do yourself a favor and always pick the small, but do not go for the biggest one. If you want to eat a lot and fill your belly full, I'd recommend you to eat a lot of vegetables, and if you want to drink something sweet, go for light versions. So for example, drink Coca-Cola Zero, you are preparing yourself to not gain a lot of weight compared to other people. And the reasons I cannot explain here in this video, otherwise I would make it very, very long. But if you trust on science and a lot of research that was done on this, if you trust on my experience with clients and other things, maybe you should give this a try. So let's just recap. The first thing is you adjust before, not afterwards. Because we tend to tell ourselves that we will do a lot of great things afterwards, but we will find a reason to not do them. So if you want to eat more on Christmas and not gain weight, start today by reducing carbohydrates and fat, eat more vegetables, and exercise a little bit more, meaning that you will lose some weight now, and then the weight that you gain on Christmas won't make you to feel guilty. The other thing is, during Christmas Day, don't go YOLO and think that you will not have ever any other opportunity to eat the foods that are there. You have, it's fine, so just pick the ones that you like, eat those, enjoy them, and next day try different ones. But don't try everything at once. And do yourself a favor and don't go for these portions like this very big. These are the tips that I have for you in this video. I have been using them, they are very helpful, you just have to give them a try. The key message in this video is actually, every time that you have a big celebration or a big event, always prepare before, never afterwards. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, enjoy the time, enjoy the food, and spread some love. Take care, my friends.